this one. What about bare shaft tuning?
So here's the thing. If you have a recurve bow with a finger release, bare shaft tuning is awesome.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Because it will actually tell you, is your cushion plunger too stiff? Is it extended too far? That sort of thing.
Right.
A compound bow release, if you get a bare shaft to fly 50 meters and hit in the center of the bullseye, right? It says, yes, the arrow is flying straight out of the bow. It doesn't say that your bow is set up to be as accurately as possible in the face of your mistakes. Because here's how I describe it. You have a bow that's perfectly balanced on a needle. If you touch it anywhere, it will readily move in that direction. But if you bias the weight of a bow to one direction and touch it, it tends to maintain itself.
Correct.
So if you have a bare shaft that flies at 50 meters and hits X's with a perfect shot, and then just touch a little bit of skin to the string with the next shot, and the bare shaft goes haywire, right? With fletchings, it'll hit that far to the left at 50 meters, right? So getting a bare shaft tune for me is just as useful as getting a clean hole through the paper. And it says, yes, you're ready to begin group tuning. So when I had this discussion with Gillingham just the other day, I loved anytime I'm near him, I'll wind him up about something.
Yeah.
Just because
that's easy.
You can have a 3-hour conversation arguing about bow tuning, and I love it.
Yeah.
Every time I always wish that I had a microphone, going, okay, and what do you think about that?
Right.
So, cause it's great. But I started going through and I said, when you got your bare shaft, I went through that same thing I just told you. And he was like going, that actually makes sense. I was like, yeah. I said, now when I go outside and do long range group tuning, and I'm essentially shooting the bow at a line, either horizontally or vertical, making micro adjustments to see if it improves my overall 6 or 12 arrow groups. And when I make that adjustment, I see a slight improvement. Then I make another adjustment and it slightly improves again. Then I make another and it slightly improves again. And I'll continue. And once I've gone too far, it'll begin to degrade again.
Correct.
So I can go back to that setting that gave me my absolute tightest horizontal, right? Then flip that line horizontal and then work on my knocking point till I get the absolute best vertical groupings. My bow is tuned in spite of my mistakes. It gives me the best groups. Usually when I come inside, the Hamskea rest and, an arrow that Archer's Advantage says is matched. Usually with a Hamskea rest, it tears a little bit high and a little bit left through the paper. I never fix that.
Nope.
Because my bow is proven scientifically through repetition that it is grouping as good as I can make it group.
Right.
So what that does is it puts a little bit of a bias in the tune, just like opening up the bar on your stabilizer puts just a little bit of a bias. So when you do have a little drag or something, there's a tiny bit of direction imparted on the flight of the arrow that kind of covers for those little things, that tiny loss of pressure, that little touch of your beard on the string, those little things that just take your group from in the 10 to just barely out of the 10. Right. You're not going to go from 675 to 710.
Right.
But you might go from 695 to 705.